Most people think running ads for clothing brands is simple. You just upload a clean picture of your product, throw some money behind it, and then watch the sales roll in. I used to think that too, and I lost money doing it. The approach never works. But once I figured out the real strategy and reverse engineered it, I hit 100K in revenue, and the ads I used to make this were honestly embarrassingly simple to make. So I'm going to show you exactly how we did it. Before I get into the how, let me show you the actual proof. This isn't theory, these are real numbers from a real clothing brand using a strategy that most people actually overlook. And the best part is you don't need a big budget, you don't need a huge creative team or some fancy production setup. You just need an iPhone and Photoshop. That's it. And actually understanding who your avatar is. 28K spent, 140 back, that's easily 100K in rev. And that's all you need to look at, honestly. I'll refresh it right here so you can see I'm not lying about it either. 28, 140K. Now before you even touch Ads Manager, do this. Before you even touch a single image Photoshop, you do this one thing first that most brands skip entirely. You understand who your customer avatar is. So who is this person? How old are they? What does their daily life actually look like? Because clothing isn't just a product, people buy it because of how it makes them feel and how they imagine themselves in it. The majority of people buy clothes because they see that it looks good on another person. That's the main reason. So that's one of the emotions that you could hit. So when you're thinking about your ad creative, you need to ask, what environment should my clothes be in? What kind of lifestyle does this guy represent? And then think about your models. Think about the setting. Think about the vibe. Urban, culture, coastal summer, high-end minimal. Whatever your brand represents, every single visual choice needs to reflect the actual world that your customer wants to live in. Now, if you get this wrong, even a great product cannot fix this. Now, before we jump into actually editing creatives, I want to give you a framework that actually changed everything. When it comes to whether an ad actually converts or not, there's three main factors. Number one is demand. Is there actually a demand for what you're selling? You can't manufacture desire out of thin air. Your product needs to speak to something people already crave. And then number two is resonance. Does this product actually make them feel something? Does it hit them emotionally in some way? Does it stop the scroll? Aspiration, nostalgia, identity, humor. And then number three is offer. Does the offer make them think they can't scroll past? Is it irresistible? The deal, the bundle, the urgency. Alright, so I have Photoshop open here, and quick note, I'm using a substitute image because just to keep things confidential on our end, obviously not leak our creatives, but the exact same process applies to literally everything. First, we want to make sure your photos are shot or sourced in the right settings. So good natural lighting is your best friend. You're not looking for a high production look. You actually want the opposite. And I'll explain why in a second, but here's where the magic actually happens. So first, I'm going to run through exactly how to run your offer ads. So we have this image, and it's obviously not fully it's missing something. There's white space all over here. It'll fit in the actual square campaign. Perfect. But it won't fit in the 9x16. The reason we run 9x16s along with squares are because we want two different presets. So people are going to get these on their feed. People are going to get these on their story. And if you only run the feed version, this is what it's going to look like on the story. We don't want that. We want it to look natural. When it's cropped like that, it looks horrible. So normally I would run it through obviously a generative AI filter. So I could actually expand it, make it look natural. But just for the sake of the video, you could also just make it bigger. That's so simple. People don't really care as long as it shows the product. Let's say the product is a blue dress. Ignore the watermark, obviously. But this is it. Now I'm going to show you the actual base foundations. So we want to go ahead, filter, and then camera raw filter. Alright, so we have the camera raw filter here. We're just going to play around with it. Make it look natural. Make it look nice. Let's lower the exposure. Let's up the contrast. Up the highlights. Let's turn down the shadows a bit. Turn up the whites and blacks. Boom. Another vibe. Here's where your avatar matters a lot. If your avatar is more of a sunny, happy person, let's up the temperature. Make it look even jollier. And we could up the vibrance as well. Up the saturation a bit. And then obviously we want to play around with curves. So I'll set a curve here. Lower it a bit. And it's way too bright right now. So let's lower that as well. And then boom. You play around with everything here. You change the colors. If the blue doesn't pop out enough, guess what? We can change that. Boom. You see how much that changes? 0 to 100. So let's just make it color match, because obviously your phone's never going to capture the right color. So play around with this. Let's say it's too yellow. Turn that down a bit. Let's make the sound like normal. So boom. And orange to orange. And now let's up the aqua even more. So it looks like this is the only thing that stands out. Boom. You save that. That's it. So do you see the difference from this one to this one? This one looks so much more aesthetic and more appealing to the eye. And that's what we want as a brand. That's literally one ad right there. You can run that as a concept because this is a beach. We recognize our avatar. We recognize they like the natural, they like freedom, they like free flowing. So we run a beach ad because what other place could describe that feeling even better than a beach? So we set our product in a beach and everything does happen like beforehand. You want to recognize like your avatar before you even shoot pictures. That way you can actually recognize like what you want to run. Now let's say you have a 20% off deal. What we're gonna do, add tags, literally just this 20% off site-wide. Look how simple that is. Let me show you how clean this looks as well. You want to pick your actual brand fonts. So for us, we'll just run Helvetica Null. Now, a big mistake a lot of brands do is they tend to leave the CTAs or the offers here. Now, why do you never want to do that? Because it always shows the shop now around here. That's your guideline. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do here because your profile is going to be here. And you don't want to extend to the side so much because Meta does tend to crop it out a bit. So here's perfect. You run that. You can add a drop shadow. If the color's too bright on the background, just add drop shadow so it shows more. Boom, that's it. So simple. And it's the easiest ever creative. This would rip. Let's actually change it up a bit. You play around with it, make it look nice. Actually, I like the other one better. So yeah, it's all about freedom. Play around with it. Boom, 20% off site-wide. You add the site link, and this would perform as an ad because you recognize, first of all, we have the offer here. It stands out, irresistible, 20% off. Oh, I love this dress. Obviously, I know a lot of you guys run streetwear brands, but it applies to the same exact thing. Just imagine your avatar. So 20% off. Oh, I love this dress. 20% off. Oh, it's in the beach. I love beaches. I love the vibe of this. It gives me that freedom vibe. It gives me that vibe that's like, oh, I could do whatever I want. Oh, I want to be at the beach. I want to be at the beach wearing this top. I want this. That triggers something in their head that they actually want to purchase because when we hit the urgency, we hit the actual discount, and two, we hit the actual resonance factor of it. And then obviously demand is outside the ad, but we already hit 2 out of 3 of those factors, and then you just need demand. And if you want to replicate, just copy the exact thing, move it into here and resize everything, and then you export both. That's how simple it is. Let me run another one so I can show you guys. Alright, we have another image here. Quality is a bit worse, but this should honestly fit a lot and align with what you guys actually make. So let's say we're offering 20% off. So $20 off actually. We could just do, this is a form I actually love to do, guys. So let's say the original price is 60 bucks, right? Obviously, background's gray. We want to run it as contrasting colors so it stands out a bit more. So let's say 60. So 60 right there. Perfect. That's it. And then we're going to cross it out. Let's say the new price is what? Let's say it's 40 bucks. Set it. We'll set it to red. This has repeatedly worked for brands I work with, by the way. And then we'll just drag it under. Boom. That's it. And this looks a bit messy, but it's all about what you actually target. This guy looks comfortable. Obviously, there's not much resonance here, but the model itself could be resonant. If this actually aligns with your ICP, do they have braids? Do they want to look comfortable? Do they like the color brand? Boom, 60 to 40. That's it. You can move this in if you don't want to attract the guidelines. And then that's it. It's so simple. And this would rip as an ad. You don't understand how easy it is to actually make these ads. I got one more for you guys here. And this one is one of the highest performing ads that you could ever run. So it's a split screen ad. So first, let's add the product here. Let's size it down. We'll run a square feet for this one just to give you guys more variety. And we don't want this like cut off here. I'm walking you guys through my exact process here. So listen up because there's so much sauce. So let's just crop this color out. Let's blend it in. We'll add a square shape. Boom. And then we'll drag this down. Drag down. Okay, sick. And that's it. Split screen. And then what we're going to do actually is grab the actual brand image. And that's it. Berlin. And then we can also add the offer. So let's say we're running 10% off. We'll run 10% off. Make the color black because we're aiming for more of an aesthetic vibe here. We want to appeal to that aesthetic ICP. So we're going to run 10% off. It will change the line spacing. Obviously make it look a lot nicer. So here. Boom. Drag that in a bit. Way too much actually. Guys, chill on me. Alright. Then we could just change that a bit. 10% off, sick. And then we can run a site wide. Boom. Site wide. Perfect. And that's it. So simple. And I guarantee you, since the demand for this brand is already there, the product looks great. It resonates with the actual minimalistic lifestyle that they want to have. It actually makes them feel something when you look at this ad because you could tell it's minimalistic. Just barely any effort, but it also looks like so much effort. And that's the beauty of it. And then obviously you have the offer 10% off. A brand like this, when they're offering 10% off, that's a steal. Imagine if Louis Vuitton offered 10% off. Everyone's buying from that offer. Even though it's such a common offer, it's so amazing. So this honestly might be one of the best ads I made today. You have to understand that everything beforehand, the prep, the actual research, is way more important than anything else. The creative, the actual design. You need that before you actually run it. The best performing ads don't look like ads. People have been conditioned to scroll past anything that feels promotional. And the second that their brain registers that this is an ad, the wall goes straight up. But when your creative looks like a friend's Instagram story, casual, authentic, and unpolished in a real way, it bypasses that entirely. They stop, they look, and they actually feel something. That's resonance. That's what drives conversions. You can add a simple text overlay to hint at offers, nothing fancy, just feels like a caption. And then keep it native to the platform. That's it. That's the strategy. Understand your avatar, match the environment to their lifestyle, keep the editing simple and authentic, and make it feel like something they actually see from a real person in their feed. This is what took us to 100K, and we still use this exact approach today. If this was helpful, subscribe because I drop songs like this every single week.